Now, as I've mentioned before, the subject of color in Photoshop is a huge subject, but I'm going to show you the main controls for color adjustment within the program and then let you go back and experiment with the controls that I'm getting ready to show you. First on the list is color balance, and we come up to Image, Adjustments, and we have color balance that comes up as a very small little dialog box, but it packs a wallop. Now you'll notice the sliders that go between the various CMYK colors up here, and then you can balance the midtones, the highlights, and the shadows within the image separately. So we have this image of Laura that's obviously out of white balance, and we want to correct it. So obviously there's a lot of blue, so what do we want to do? Let's take out some blue. All right, so we're going to go -30. Notice the values up here. These are very important to pay attention to as well. We have a minus value of 30 on the blue slider, or I guess you could say a plus 30 on the yellow, depending on however you want to look at it. Now, in order to balance this out for the correct RGB balance, and that looks okay the way it sits, but it's got a lot of green in it, so we can do one of two things. We can take this up here, which that doesn't look good, so we're going to return this down here, and then we're going to just adjust this green slider right down here. But I got to say that based on what I'm seeing in my monitor, this adjustment right here looks like it's going to be very, very good. Now let's click on the highlights and see what kind of adjustment we can do. And there's a fine tune of her face, which is obviously the thing we want to kind of center on. The other thing is her hair. Now, women with blonde hair have a tendency to show green tinting in the result. And sometimes this is a very difficult thing to get out, and a lot of people don't even notice it sometimes when they're adjusting images. But if you're shooting blonde people, especially dirty blondes like Laura here, be sure and make sure you're going to adjust that green out of there. And I think one thing that we want to do is just a skosh over there, just like that. And then let's click on the shadows. Now, a lot of times, only adjusting the midtones will give you the result you want, but experiment with doing it with all three luminance spectrums and see what kind of results you get. And hey, that's looking real good. I like that. And I'm seeing green, so I want to get rid of the green. And to me, that's looking pretty good. Let's see how this rates. Let's click on the Info tab. Take our cursor, put it in the image. I know this background is neutral gray, so those RGB values, I'm looking for those to be up quite a bit. And I'm seeing over here, you're going to look at this area right here, and the blues still have a predominant influence on this image, even though my eye tells me it looks good. So I'm going to go back, color balance, and I'm going to take out some of this blue. You know what I'm going to do, actually? I'm going to come up here and use the color sampling tool. I'm going to place an anchor right there. Okay, now I don't have to keep going back and forth. I can just look at the readout here. So go into Image, Adjustments, Color Balance. Now I don't even have to see the image. I just need to look at those values over there. So let's take this green down. And see the numbers change right there. And then I got to bring that green, because see that green is just a touch. Just enough to get rid of the green that's coming up in the hair. And let's come down some more on the blues. And now those values are lining up, except the red is a little high, so let's take the red down some. And that's about as good as it's going to get, except to my eye, I'm seeing green on my monitor, but that may not really be there. But let's just take it down just a little bit right there and let that green balance out. So now we've got basically a balanced image, at least as balanced as I can make it. And there you have color adjustments with the color balance slider in Photoshop CS6.